Hello and welcome to another yoga studio. I am Kat, if you haven't joined me before for a class, and it's great to have everyone old and new back here with me today for our little vlog chat about mindfulness. So one of the things quite often people will say is, oh, my mind's too busy, I can't be mindful, I can't meditate, my mind is just too busy and I can't do it. Well, the biggest thing to remember is that if you could already do it, you wouldn't need to practice it, because as with all things yoga, it is a practice. It is something we are always trying to work on and improve, and only by doing that can we start to make any kind of difference and actually start to feel like we're making an improvement in something. So this is just a few little hints and tips on how to get started. And the big thing to remember is that actually being mindful isn't switching the mind off. Actually, what we're doing is being aware or being mindful of what is going on in the mind, and then choosing what we do with that. So it might be that the mind is switched on because we are meditating about something. That could be anything, the colours in the rainbow. We could be meditating on some important decision or issue or thing that's come up in our lives, and we need to meditate around that and really focus our mind and be mindful about that topic. Or it might be that actually we are quietening and calming the mind down, and we're being aware or mindful about the thoughts that drop into our head, but instead of going off at all those lots of different tangents and down the rabbit holes of all the little thoughts that come into our head, we just go, okay, you're there, I'm not going to follow you. Or there might be something that does come into your head that you go, actually, I'm going to focus on this for a little while, and that's all okay. So this is the big thing to come out of it. If you want to start to be a little bit more mindful and to perhaps start with some sort of meditation, mindfulness practice, it's not about switching everything off and suddenly having an empty mind. You are deciding how you are going to work and train your mind, just like we work and train with anything else in the body. So the first thing I would suggest you do is come into a comfortable position. Now, you can do this anywhere. So your comfortable position could be sitting in a car in the middle of a car queue, jam, and you're just sitting in there, and you know you're not going anywhere, and rather than kind of give into the frustration, you decide to practice a moment of mindfulness there. So it doesn't have to be something comfortable in a comfortable position. You could do it walking, but for today we're going to find a comfortable position. You can lie down, just as long as you don't fall asleep. You could stand up, you could sit down, it could be on your sofa, it could be on the floor. If you want to grab a cushion or something like that to sit on, we can do whatever we like. Because at the end of the day, if you are being busy thinking about the discomfort in your body, you're not thinking about your mind. Or maybe that's what you're focusing on, it's the discomfort in your body. All right, okay, so once you're there, find a comfortable position to sit in. Now, I happen to like sitting cross-legged, but I don't have to. I can take my legs out in front. And then we're going to close our eyes, if that's all right and feels appropriate for the place you're in. And then take a little check-in. So before we think about our mind, we'll check in with the body. How comfortable does it feel? Where do you notice yourself connecting with the floor or your chair? And then if you're standing, this might be something you do from your feet up through your hips, or if you're sitting, from the actual sit bones, the bottom of your pelvis. Just take a little check-in with the spine, see if you can grow a little longer. Again, if you're laying on the floor, we can just imagine the spine lengthening across the floor. So we become aware of the body. Have a little check then in with your mind. Just notice what's happening. Again, there is no right or wrong here. We're just noticing. Maybe it is quite busy at this point, maybe it's not. And then maybe there might be some other things that you notice about how you're doing, how you're feeling. Perhaps you feel like you've got a lot of energy, maybe you don't. How are your emotions? Are you a bit frustrated today? Are you happy? And then we're going to come back to the breath. And notice our breathing. So we've taken a check-in with ourselves and we've brought ourselves into our presence now with our breath, how the body feels, the mind, the energy, the emotions. So we've checked in, we've become present with where we are now. And there doesn't have to be any special kind of breathing. We just notice where we inhale and where we exhale. And then you might want to slow the breathing down. So we could breathe in for a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold it for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3. 4. And then breathe out for a count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can just do that in your own time. Perhaps taking a more focused, controlled approach to the breath helps us to calm down a little bit more. If perhaps we've been rushing around, we're aware our emotions are perhaps running a little bit high. So we can use that counting breath, breathing in for 3, holding for 4, and breathing out for 5 to help calm and regulate our system a little bit. Maybe we don't feel like we need to. We can just follow the breath. And I'm going to notice, pay more attention to the mind. This is where we become aware of the mind, we become mindful, and where the meditation part starts. So we can forget about the breathing now. It's there, it'll carry on without us. If it helps to stay aware of the breathing, then obviously that's a bonus that you can keep working on. And you don't have to stay still, the body can shift and wriggle and move. That's another point. So think of the inside of your head and see if you can find a point at the front of the head and the back of the head, and draw a line between the 2 spots and straight through your mind. And then we're going to find 2 spots opposite each other on the side of the head, and they're going to connect so that our 2 lines make a cross. Keep that cross in your head. Feel the connection points of your body with the floor, your chair, wherever you are. And then try and relax your tongue in the mouth. Right at the base, the back of the tongue. Just let it relax. Let it go. Let it be heavy. You've now created a feeling of presence in the now. Try and be mindful. And then we just sit, or lie, or stand, and just notice what's going on in the head, in the mind. So for today, we're just going to practice not following the thoughts. So when they come into your head, when they come into that space where we've drawn the cross through the mind, come back to that cross. So we focus on that and let that random thought, just let it drop into the head and then it just drops out. And we don't need to follow it. So any thought that comes in, just let it go. We're just going to sit here like this for a moment. Then give yourself a little bit of a wriggle as you feel the body again. And slowly bring the eyes open, and that's it, we're done. So that was just a very brief, mindful moment. And remember, if thoughts come into your head, I was aware of the traffic that was going past, but instead of focusing on the noise, I just noticed it and let it go. There's other things that dropped into my head, but instead of focusing on them, I let them go. And sometimes you'll find your mind will be all over the place. Mine certainly is. And then others, it will feel easier to kind of settle into that quiet space. But that's all you need to do, have a moment of being present, where you just check in with yourself and all the little parts of yourself, and then see if you can find that space where the mind is either trying to stay clear, or you focus on one thing that you feel is really important to you at that moment, and you try not to let any other thoughts come into your head. So we've got the having a moment of presence, a moment with the breath perhaps, and then letting the mind either be clear or focused on something for a short period, and you just build it up. So it might be that you start off with 2 minutes or a minute, and then before you know it, you can go for 5, 10, and however long you want to stay mindful for. Okay, well, I hope you find that little short introduction helpful, and it clarifies the fact that you do not need to have a quiet mind to be mindful. All right, if you want to join me again for another video, make sure you hit the subscribe button now so you know when our extra videos come out, and I'll see you soon. Bye.